The Cabaret Card system did not affect performers equally. Enforcement followed patterns. Black musicians were targeted at dramatically higher rates than their white counterparts. Jazz musicians were scrutinized more heavily than performers in other genres. The standard was good moral character. But in practice, character was interpreted through race, politics, and proximity to power. A drug arrest that ended one career was ignored in another. A rumor that followed one performer indefinitely disappeared for someone else. White performers were affected at dramatically lower rates, and often for different reasons: political speech, public dissent, or perceived nonconformity. This was not inconsistency, it was selectivity. The system allowed authorities to apply pressure where it was most effective and retreat where it was inconvenient. No quotas were published, no criteria were clarified. That ambiguity was the point, because when enforcement is selective, it teaches everyone else to anticipate it. And anticipation is cheaper than punishment. Billie Holiday was not the only performer affected by the Cabaret Card system. She was the most visible. In 1947, Holiday was convicted on narcotics charges and sentenced to federal prison. After her release, her Cabaret Card was revoked. That single administrative decision meant she could no longer perform in New York City venues that served alcohol. There was no additional hearing, no review, no expiration. She could still record music. She could still perform occasionally in concert halls or theaters. But the economic center of her profession, the clubs where jazz lived, was closed to her. For the rest of her life, Billie Holiday never performed in a New York City nightclub again. This was not an exception written for her. It was the system functioning exactly as designed. The Cabaret Card system did not announce itself as censorship. It presented itself as regulation, as public safety, as administrative routine. But its purpose was never to protect audiences. It was to control access. Who could work, who could speak, and who could be quietly removed without explanation. No speeches were banned. No songs were outlawed. The silence came later, after the paperwork, after the revocation, after the work disappeared. This system no longer exists in name, but its logic survived it. And once you learn to recognize that logic, you start seeing it everywhere.